Little sis, come here. Let me talk to you, little bro. When you start walking in who God called you to be, when you finally realize who you are, and you start doing things out of the norm, please, please don't make the mistake of thinking that people are going to be there for you, especially those that are closest to you, especially if they're older than you. And what you're doing is bringing them low-key embarrassment because they done put their mouth on you so bad when you were coming up. They already had your future planned when you were a teenager. When you got pregnant in high school, they already knew what was up because they seen the patterns because it happened to them. So they was like, all right, we got this one. So when you break out of that cycle, I'm going to testify. So when I started my business, I got so sidetracked because those that I was doing it for, or those that I thought was in my corner, just so blindsided, right? The best way I can explain it is that I was running a race and I seen the people, I seen the crowd, but I won. And when I got over the finish line, it was completely silent. Imagine that. That's how I felt. But then I had to go back and realize, like, man, I thought I was going to get the recognition I seen them give everybody else. I thought they was going to clap for me. I asked for help. I asked for help, and they act like they were going to be there when it was just a dream. But when it became a reality, it was silent. Please, please. I had to go through it so I could testify to you to save you from going through it. It's just you and God. If you got children, keep them at the front of your mind. If you got a husband, wife, if that's something that you want, keep them at the front of your mind. Because these other people are low-key embarrassed. Imagine talking junk about somebody and they turn out a little bit better than you. It's okay if you were winning. It's okay if you went to school, you got a little job. But when you start doing better than them, it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem. And they knew it too. They knew it. The person in my life actually texted me and told me I'm in my feelings because I don't have anybody else in the family. So they knew what they were doing. They knew the assignment. That's what I'm saying. The enemy be knowing. So you got to make sure that that stuff don't bother you. And we all got to go through lessons. It's so easy for people to say, oh, I wouldn't worry about what people say. Or I wouldn't worry about this, that, and the third. But you're not out here doing things. You're not out here in it. It's easy to say that. It's easy to say that. But when you got a heart and you had a heart for your family and you got a heart for people in general and love, and the enemy know that you value relationships, that stuff will bother you. But that's where Christ comes in and he healed those wounds. And when you get to the point where I'm at, now it's arrogance. Now they preach the sermon about being humbled. But where were you when I was being tossed, turned every which way but loose, in my feelings, about to throw in the towel? No, God gave me this confidence. It's a difference. My heart posture never changed. If my heart posture was going to change, it would have changed in the last season. But no, we're just walking in confidence. We know who we are, whose we are, and we're standing on business. I got the text messages. But what they do, they'll act so different in public. They'll make it look like you're the problem. They'll put all this stuff on your name. But God is exposing. He started last year, 2024. But now it's really going to come to light. And the people that they were lying to, the people that ran in their corner, the people that they convinced that you were the crazy one, you were the one with the problem. See, I told you she was crazy. I told you she keeping them children away from everybody. It's them doing that. They did that to their grandparents. They did that to their grandparents, bro. When they get mad, they use their children as pawns from their fathers, from the people that love their children. But they try to project onto you. And if you're not careful, you'll put on that identity of which they thrown at you. The devil is a lie. We come against that. So hold your head up. When you're trying to do something different, keep God at the forefront. Another thing I like to compare it to, I got in my brick and mortar, got everything. I mean, it was just me, God, my children, and my husband, everything was going right. Then I started depending on people and what people could do for me. And I always compare it to Peter. Peter had that thing going. Peter was like, oh, that's you? Call me out there to you. He started to walk on water. But then he looked around. Baby, I looked around and I noticed that I was in deep. But I started with no money. God was doing it. But when I took my eyes off Christ and I started depending on people, I started letting other people in. My ship started to sink. Don't take your eyes off Jesus. But just like Peter, I was smart enough to call on him when I started to sink. But he made me go through 2024 to learn the lessons. He made me go through everything I went through to expose a best friend that I'm like calling my best friend. I didn't even know this person because they were showing me a separate side of them. Losing money, trying to go and do it my way. And God says no. But I promise you, when I go back and look at my business plan that I wrote in 2021, when I was when we were in the hotel, when we were homeless, the mobile part of my business came to be through those trials, through those tribulations. I'm still on track. And that's what God'll do, man. He will turn everything around for your good. And you will look back and say, man, I'm still on track. I was still working through all of that. Because the enemy can't steal what's yours. But he can allow you to put it down. He can make you give it up. So you got to stay focused. I love y'all. I hope this helped somebody. I hope I wasn't all over the place. But God said just keep your focus on him and what he's giving you and the blueprint. If you're writing a business plan right now, it is January 14, 2025. You stick to that thing. I don't care who try to come in. I don't care who. If you feel like you don't know what you're doing, just keep trusting God with whatever it is. Love y'all. Bye.